So as it turns out, the student loans that I've been paying $1,500 a month for 2 years have a 17% interest rate. So what I thought I've been paying off for all this time, I'm actually, I owe more than what I started off with. What the fuck? So, Jeff Bezos, this would be a really cool fucking time to Venmo me, bro. I owe $90,000, and I didn't even spend that much on school. Any rich person, please tap in. Kourtney Kardashian, you probably have 8 houses. I'm never gonna be able to buy one because I went to college. I just signed up to be an egg donor. Guess what? Got approved. Who wants my fucking kids? I can't afford them, so start a bidding war. Just fucking take them. What do you want? My left arm too? What the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm gonna be in debt for my whole fucking life. How does that even make sense? I signed up for this shit when I was 17. This should not be legal, bro. I got upset about it at work, and my coworker was like, don't you have a rich relative who can pay that for you? No, my family's poor. No. And the worst fucking part is, bro, look where I am. I can't go in because I can't spend money, but I just want to be here because it makes me feel better.
I'm crashing the fuck out. Because who let an 18-year-old decide to take out a student loan? $90,000 was my original amount. I know that's a lot. I know I'm stupid. Whatever. I don't fucking care at this point. There's nothing I can do about it. But $90,000. I'm 30 years old now. And I haven't looked at it because I'm ignorance is bliss. I don't want to fucking know how much money I'm paying. I pay $1,000 a month, and I've been paying $1,000 a month ever since I graduated in 2017. I don't know. That's a lot of money. It's over my amount, and I looked today. I still have to pay another $122,000 before I'm done. What the fuck? So I'm gonna pay $200,000? I'm struggling to, everything is so fucking expensive, and $1,000 a month would literally change my life. And I have 118 more payments left until I'm done. That's crazy. Tell me that's not so insane. And people who say, oh, well, you shouldn't have taken out a loan if you weren't prepared to pay it back. I am prepared to pay it back. I've paid it back. I've paid back how much I took out, but interest rates are so crazy that I still have $120,000 to pay? Look me in the eyes and tell me that's fair. Tell me it's fair. Tell me it's fair that anybody has to suffer and struggle this much because when they were 18, people told them, go to college. It's going to help you get a good job. You're going to be able to pay back this loan. No problem. Why? 18 years old. You should have known better. No, I shouldn't have. I was a child. A literal child. And now here I am, 12 years later. And I can't live. I literally cannot afford to live. I can't afford to live. So, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Literally, what am I supposed to do? I'm just...
Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Jay Cartelli. Today we're talking about student loans. I know it's controversial and there's different opinions on it. I can speak to this because I've been to college twice. I've had student loans, I've paid student loans, I've been in debt, I've been in every situation that you could even think of. I've been in several different colleges, not just one. I've been to 3, been to a trade school, been to a lot of different things. Community college, universities. Trust me, I spent a lot of time in college, so I know a lot about it. So we're going to get into this today, guys. So like I said, we have a lot to get into today. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, really helps out the algorithm. Appreciate it. Let's get into this.
Did y'all see that nearly 9 million student borrowers all missed their first loan repayments starting up again in October? 9 million me included in that, I didn't pay. I still have not started paying them back again. 9 million of us just didn't pay our student loans when they kicked in again. And as a result, the big loan companies had to come out and go, okay, well, we're basically saying we're going to be lenient until X date. Why? Because this is what happens when we collectively stick together. They have to deal with it. Americans just need to get a little better at understanding, we have the power. We always have had the power. We're just really bad at sticking together, and we're really spread out, so it's hard to collectively organize. But just don't pay them. If it's to the point where no one is paying them, you're talking about millions and millions and millions of us. These giant companies that have just been just fine for the past 3 years without getting our loan repayments because they don't need them really, are gonna have to just deal with it. They're gonna garnish all of our wages, because I'm gonna tell you what, they're not gonna want to invest the amount of money it's going to take to put the manpower into how much bureaucratic work goes into garnishing wages of literally all of the students that owe money. I'm just saying, stick to your guns. If you're one of those 9 million people that didn't pay in October, I still didn't pay. And they didn't even email me this month. Maybe they already gave up.
Yeah, maybe they already gave up. Who knows? Just don't pay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about your debts. That's cool.
Because I just went and looked at how much I owe versus how much I paid. I graduated a decade ago and I owed $50,000, right? And I said, you know what? I'm just going to be consistent. I'm going to pay my bill. And, eventually that amount will go down. And I've paid $200 something a month since then, right? 200 something a month. It has been 10 years later. I started at 50,000. It's at 47,000, right? I've paid $25,000+ since I graduated college, and it's only down 3. It's not making sense. $200 is already a nice sized bill. What do you want me to do? Why does it have to be so aggressive? I'm not understanding. I'm trying to pay the money back. I'm giving you what I got. You know what I'm saying? Am I supposed to be paying it for the rest of my life? Do I have to pay $1,000 a month to see progress? It's getting out of hand.
Look, I understand the frustration because I've been there. Now, there got to be some kind of a happy medium, right? Now, you can't sit there and say, like the previous video where she's saying, I'm just a child. Well, no, you're 18. You're an adult. That means you can serve in the military like I did. That also means that you can legally vote and, can drive a car. There's lots of things you can do. You're considered an adult. You know better, right? Or at least you should. I know when I went to college, well, first of all, I went to the military first. I got out of school, went to the military, went to the Navy, right? When I got out of that, I went straight to college. Okay, so when I went to college, I didn't come from money. My family was poor. We didn't have a lot of money. So I needed help, and that's fine. But you get the paperwork, you get you get everything. You sign on a dotted line. You read all the information, and you become informed, right? I knew what I was signing. I knew it was a debt that I had to pay back. I seen the interest rate. I seen all the fine print. It wasn't like they were hiding it. Okay? So maybe when you're a kid, you're not, whatever, you're not really thinking about it, whatever, I'll worry about it later. Well, whose fault is that? Now, I'm not trying to blame just the students or just people that went to college. I've been there. I know when I first went in there, they lined the halls, and I've talked about this before. They lined the halls with all kinds of predatory stuff, right? There's every type of representative from every single loan, bank, credit card company, you name it. They lined the halls with them. When I went back in the 90s, and I also went back in the 2000s. I went back 2 different times. Now, when I went, like I said, they lined the halls with them because they were giving out credit cards like candy, because they're targeting the educated, the higher curriculums, because all these kids are getting a 4-year degree. They're getting bachelors. They're going to have a higher end level job. They're going to be executives. They're going to be, upper management. They're going to be medical fields. They're going to make a lot of money. So they'll be able to afford and pay us back these high interest rates, right? So, and they would literally just give you free things to sign up. So really, it's just like it was free. Like, hey, here's a sports bottle. Here's a free keychain. Here's a free whatever. They would give you, backpacks, whatever. They give you free stuff all the time. All the time. Just to sign up. Hey, just fill this out. It's easy, no problem. And send it off. It takes 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. No worries. Don't worry about it. And they would approve you, even though you didn't have established credit, even though you're young. These credit card companies would approve you anyway. They would do it just for the simple fact that they knew that when you graduated, on the hopes of graduation, you'd have a really good high-paying job and you'd be able to afford to pay back the high interest rates. So I get that aspect. I mean, I think that's kind of wrong. And some of these schools get kickbacks with them, right? So a lot of these colleges and schools will have a, handshake deal type of thing, and they allow them on campus. So I do understand where a lot of these kids are coming from, because it's so easy to get in there, it's so easy to get the loans, it's so easy to get all these offers when you're fresh, you're a young kid, you got the whole life in front of you. It's so easy to suck you into that debt and get you trapped. So it's not lost on me, guys. I understand. I was there. I seen it. I went through it. I got student loans, many loans. I had 8 different loans. And I had government loans, Pell Grants that you didn't have to pay back. I had some that you did. I had private loans, government-backed loans. I've been there, trust me. So it's not lost on me. But you do have to take some kind of responsibility as well. It's kind of like I see both angles. I see both sides of this, right? And I've paid my loans back. All right? I paid all, well, not all. I actually still have one loan left that we'll get into later that I'm still paying back. It's mostly paid, but, I've been paying over 20 years. So trust me, I get it. But some of these high interest rate loans are ridiculous. They're way too high. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
I don't know how more people aren't talking about student loans right now. It is an area of the economy that seems to be flying completely under the radar, and the market seems to be cracking. 10% of aggregate student debt was 90 days or more past due in Q3 of 2025. That is $1 in $10 that is supposed to be paid towards student loans that is at least 90 days late, and even worse, 1 in 3 borrowers with payments due are at least 1 payment behind. There's $1.7 trillion in student loans, and it stresses me out. It really stresses me out. I think a few years ago, with this student loan forgiveness and those ongoing discussions, there was a lot more attention to the student loan crisis, and I really think it's been flying under the radar, and it has progressively gotten worse. I mean, 1 in 3 people are struggling to pay. And there are tens of millions of borrowers. I think it's something like 50 million borrowers. And it comes at a time when the labor market is showing weakness, right? We've been in that slow to hire, slow to fire phase, but the slow to fire is now ramping up a little bit more than we'd like it to. We've seen inflation tick up a little bit more than we'd like it to. And then we're surprised by the hyper-financialization of everything. We see these everything markets like Kalshi, we see the meme coins, and I do believe that people see this as their way out, right? They look at their student loans. It's like, why would I pay something like that? What good is that going to do me? Average student loan payment is something like $500 a month. It's a lot of money. And I think it's becoming clear that the job market is no longer rewarding a degree like it once did. And the job market certainly is not paying enough for someone to pay out such a substantial student loan balance that they may have.
Oh, and another thing, you can tell FAFSA to go on right to hell, and I'll meet them there. I'm not giving y'all a cent of my money, okay? Money that I don't have, by the way. But even if I did have the money to pay for it, you're still not getting it. Y'all the one that forced us to go in the first place, telling us that if we didn't go to college, we weren't going to amount to nothing. And, going to college is better than having a trade. And, if you want to have this amount of money, then you need to... All lies. All lies. Most of us are unemployed. Most of us are working in fields that have nothing to do with our degree. And you want my money. You can take that up with whoever you need to take it up with. Take it up with Jesus. I already paid it all. That's what they've been telling me. They say he paid it all, and I'm going to let him pay it. So, y'all not getting a goddamn cent.
All right. We're going to go straight to the comments on that one. Why is there no accountability? That's what I like to know. I mean, I was young. I went to college twice. I got student loans. I paid for them. I'm still paying for them. 20 years later. Can someone please explain how we are forced to get a loan and go to college? Exactly. I'm trying to figure out how I was able to commit to a loan at 17 anyway. FAFSA forced you to go to college? Question mark. So, anyway, I get the argument and I understand the sentiment, but I'm sorry. When you have that kind of attitude and that blasé, whatever, you ain't getting nothing, who cares, blah, blah, blah. It takes two, guys. I'm just going to tell you. It takes two, okay? Yes, there's good and bad on both sides. I see both sides, I truly do, because I've been there. But no one's breaking your arm or leg neither. You could very easily go to a local small community college, which is cheaper. You could have very easily went to a trade school. You could have very easily just entered the work market or the job market. Now, people tell you all kinds of things in life. Oh, go to college, get a job, get this, get that, get a higher education, get more money. Bottom line is, it's all about money. You're going to school to get educated because you want to help other people? No. Let's get real. You're going there because you want to make money and you want to get a high-paying job to make a high-paying wage. That's why you're going there. All right? That's the way you're doing it. Colleges are doing it because why? They have huge campuses and lots of overhead, and they want to make as much money as they can make. The more students, the more money. The bigger college, the bigger everything, the bigger what? Pay, money. Same thing with the government. Same thing with private institutions. Same way with financial places and banks. Same way with corporations, business, capitalism. Same way with everything. Everybody's out there to try to make money. Everybody's out there to try to get as much money as they can get. There's many ways of doing it. College isn't the only way. There's a lot of college dropouts that are, multi-billionaires. There's a lot of people out there that have done very well in just a basic trade that makes more money than doctors. Okay? Plumbers, electricians, all that kind of stuff. There's people out there that make a lot of money and never even seen the inside of a college. Barely graduated high school. There's dropouts, high school dropouts that I know personally that are doing quite well today. So, education is nice. I'm not anti-education. I was there. I've been there twice. I got 2 degrees. I love education. I love school. I love knowledge. But everybody's different, and college doesn't work for everybody. I'm just saying. College doesn't, it doesn't work for everybody. But understand you got to be mature enough to know what you're getting yourself involved with. And you have to do your homework, and you have to have research, and you have to talk and ask and network with people. You know what I mean? You just don't go in blind. I think a lot of these kids, they just want to go because it's the glamour of going. Like, oh, my friend's gone. I heard they had big college parties, or it's fun, or I want to get a big paying job. And they hear all these glamour stories about going. And, I want to go. They don't really, they don't really think it through, So it takes two, all right? So you have to be accountable. You really do.
I was about to come and get ready with me until I got a email about my student loan payment, which, by the way, I am $80,000 in student debt, which feels pretty hopeless, and like I'm going to be living at home until I'm 45, which made me think about graduating, which made me think about getting a 9-to-5, and how I won't be able to do fun little girly things forever, which, obviously, it's just, stupid, I don't know. Which made me just think about the job market and, how kind of impossible it is right now. The amount of people that have asked me like what I want to do with my degree. And honestly, the answer is literally nothing. I don't want to do anything with it. So, that's where I'm at.
I'm not paying my student loans. The government keeps threatening all these things they're going to do to people if they don't pay their student loans. I don't think they realize we don't care. We don't have enough to care. We don't care about credit scores anymore. We don't care if you siphon our paychecks. We're just going to quit and move on to the next company because that company was probably going to fire us anyway. People don't stay at jobs like they used to. People aren't locked in to a job they have to stay at for 35 years because they're getting a pension and great benefits. Those things don't happen anymore. So if you threaten to siphon people's paychecks, they're just going to quit and go to another company because that company was probably going to go bankrupt anyway and fire everybody in the next couple months. This is going to be so much work for the government to siphon paychecks, and it's not going to get them enough money. They're going to end up losing money because they're going to have to hire thousands of people to try and get this money from people that don't have it. They're going to end up spending more money than they get in the long run. So these empty threats that they're giving us, they aren't scaring us. If the government's watching, it doesn't scare us.
Oh, they're watching.
We don't have enough.
Oh, they're watching.
For that to scare us. So I won't pay the hospital then if you take my student loans out of my check. It's one or the other. We pay our health care and our medical bills, or we pay our student loan bills, or our credit cards, or our loans. Like, we can't pay it all. We're not making enough to pay it all. We're not sitting back and living in mansions, going on 20 vacations a year like the billionaires and saying, I don't want to pay my student loans. That's not it. We literally can barely afford life. We're just choosing which bills to pay. And the student loan one was taken off of the plate. I have less. Back when I was paying my student loans and the economy was a little better, I had more money back then, even with paying the student loans. I have less money now, and you want to take the student loans on top of it. I can't even be nervous about it because I can't afford it. I don't know what you're going to take from me, but whatever you take, that means I'm not going to pay something else because I don't have that kind of money. My job just doesn't pay that. It just doesn't.
Well, they're going to get theirs one way or the other. The government always does. So you can go from job to job all you want, unless you're really good at hiding things, or if you work for someone under the table, they'll find something. You know, if you don't have a home that it can repossess, if you don't have a car, if you know, whatever you might find, the government's going to get theirs one way or the other. They'll garnish your paycheck no matter where you go. Like I said, unless you're under the table. You know, your credit's bad. I mean, they will put so much pressure on you to make it so unbearable, it'd be very difficult to function or live. So this is something that they're really good at doing. Trust me. You know, but I get where she's coming from. I understand the frustration. I do. But I don't know if it's just upbringing or if it's just, you know, that particular generation or whatever it might be. But you got to have some kind of understanding and accountability, like I did when I was a young teenager and when I got out of the military and when I went to college. I was responsible. I knew what I was signing. I knew what I was doing. I knew that I had to pay them loans back. I knew that someday, you know, they're going to come knocking. You know, you can't put them off forever. You know what I mean? And you know, the government does give a lot of different incentives and a lot of different things to try to get away from it. But you know, like I said, and when I say that, like, you know, for medical field, medical people, and certain degrees that you get into, you can volunteer, you know, like in foreign countries or different things. There's different things you can do to kind of ease your burden or your debt, so to speak. But they got to be able to have a happy medium somewhere, right? You got to be able to have a middle ground. You really do. Like, I feel when it comes to student loans, anytime the government got involved, and they got involved back, I think back in the 90s or whatever, early 90s, something like that, when I first went, they started guaranteeing loans. And then that's kind of when things got crazy. Oh, guaranteed loans. Then the college was like, oh, it's guaranteed money. And then the prices went up, and then they started, adding all these different electives, all these different things. It really kind of just snowballed and created a huge mess. And anytime the government gets involved with anything, that's kind of what happens, right? Now, I think what it should be, in my own personal opinion, this is my opinion, but it should be like, okay, you get a degree, and we should have a very capped or low interest rate, and it should not go above a certain rate. So I would say the first 2 years should be like one of those credit cards, right? Like 24 month. You should have a 24-month grace period with no interest rate. So no interest rate first 2 years. Pay it off. Pay what you can, or as much as you can, or as little as whatever. Just while you're getting a job, while you're getting your feet established in the workforce, while you're getting out there, you just graduated. Give yourself a couple years. I think they should. Okay, you got 2 years, 24 months, no interest. All right, pay what you can, pay as much as you want, whatever. After the 2 years, you started on your third year, it should be like maybe 2.5% or 2.3% or 3% or 3.5 or whatever, something real small like that. And it shouldn't go above, like maybe 3% or 4%. It should not go above that. Like maybe 2.5%, something like that. It should be capped, right? And I think that would be a good start, right? And then also give incentives to, like, oh, we need doctors and nurses, certain career paths that we really, really need, that it's in high demand right now. Give those students that want to go into those careers, hey, if you do this, because we really need that, like we need doctors really bad, right? Okay, go to become a doctor or become a nurse or become a, whatever, electrician, HVAC, whatever. Go into a certain field. Well, that's 1.5% interest. It's capped at a low interest rate or whatever, to kind of give it incentives to go into certain fields that need it, and give them alternatives and give them ways to help pay it back. So if they got to be some kind of happy medium there, right? You got to be able to take responsibility. You got the loan, you signed for it, you got to pay it back, but you also on the student side, they should have, they really need to take that responsibility and pay that loan back. But on the other side, they should really cap the interest. They should really keep it low. They should really give you alternative ways and benefits and different avenues that you can take to really lessen the pressure and help you be able to, not burden you with a bunch of debt. So, like I said, there's got to be some kind of happy medium there somewhere. I don't know what the answer is. Like I said, this is my opinion. But should college be free? Should education be free? No, I don't believe that. People's time is important and it's valuable. Now, you want to go out there and learn something on your own? Well, go ahead. That's free. Go learn all you want. Get an on-job training. Go to a vocational school. Go to a trade school. Try to find someone that'll teach you on job, or get into trades or whatever. Learn like they did back in the day, right? If you want a higher education, you really want to go to school to learn, a really high-tech level, bachelor, master, whatever, you have to pay for that. I mean, that shouldn't just be free. I don't think anything free is not worth it. In my opinion, if you get something for free, you're not going to value that. You're not going to value that education. You're not going to value anything. I don't care who the hell you are. If it's given to you for free, there's no value in it. There's just not. So there's got to be some kind of, something there. You got to pay something, right? And it could be anything. I'm not saying you got to pay a lot. I'm not saying you have to pay a ton. I just don't think it should be free unless you want to go out there and do it on your own, or on the job training, or you want to, do your own homework, your own research, your own whatever. Fine. But they've got to be something, right? You can't expect people just to do it for nothing. And you can't expect the government just to do it, because that's really not going to be worth it. If it's government ran and government controlled, oh my God, might as well forget it. It's not going to be worth a penny. It ain't going to be worth anything. Shout out to the penny, because they don't make those anymore. So I digress. Next one. But you guys get what I mean, right? You get what I'm saying. So, like I said, it definitely, I'm not an advocate for anything free. No, I don't want to get ripped off neither. I want to make sure the value is there. Don't get me wrong. I want to make sure the value is there. It needs to be fair, win-win on both sides. It's got to be a fair exchange, right? It needs to be a fair exchange. It needs to be a positive, a net positive for both parties involved, is what I'm saying. I'm not looking for anything free, but I'm not looking to, get raked over the coals neither. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be an even, a net positive. You know what I'm saying?
So this is what happens if you don't pay your student loans. So a couple years ago, I was in college and I had to get some federal student loans. I got kicked out of ROTC. It's a long story, but I needed the loans to finish my film studies degree. Now, when I got these loans, I was told that it was financial aid. Now, I don't know what you think the definition of aid is, but I had no idea you were supposed to pay them back. I didn't find out till I got out of school and I started getting emails about making payments and shit. I thought it was a scam, so I blocked the email and deleted everything. And I was getting phone calls and shit too. I was really annoying. Anyway, didn't make any payments for like a year, and apparently there's something called like a default. At least that's what the federal agent that showed up at my door told me happened to my loan. And I was like, what are you gonna do? Drag me to federal prison? Come on, be real. He's like, we're gonna garnish your wages, we're gonna take your tax return. I was like, I don't get any of that anyway. I got a film studies degree. There are no wages to garnish. So anyway, I tried filing for bankruptcy and that didn't even work.
Oh, bro. Well, that's all I got for you today. That wraps it up, guys. Oh, my God. All right. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. See you next video. Film study degree. I don't know. I think Steven Spielberg did pretty good. I have no idea.